Hi friends, this is your pal Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about DM Bloodworth's um, Shadowdark session that he specifically ran at the Philadelphia Area Gaming Expo 2 in January of 2025 at the convention. So it was a convention session that he played, that he ran. It was 3 hours long. Actually, it was in a 4 hour block. He used 3 hours of that time. And so it was quite interesting. And today I wanted to talk about commentary on someone's dungeon mastering and how it can be helpful and how YouTube really has changed the game. How YouTube has changed Shadowdark and Dungeon Masters, how Shadowdark has changed, how YouTube has changed Shadowdark convention play and dungeon mastering overall. All right. So I was invited into this session, and I went in and played with DM's Bluddworth. And then I've done no less than 10 videos on this one session. And the reason why was one, why did I do so many? One, DM Bluddworth, I do consider a peer, right? We're both dungeon masters. We both are highly active in the Dungeons and Dragons community. Okay. And he is currently running Shadowdark, which is simply the best way to understand Shadowdark is Kelsey Dion created it. Okay. It's her work. But what she did was she chipped off a side of the diamond. All right. It's just, Shadowdark is simply a reflection of Gary Gygax's work, in my humble opinion. But she did the work to shear off a part of the diamond so that reflection can occur. Right? That's the best way to think about Shadowdark, I think. But what's really interesting is, so I shared what I liked about the session, and that took like 2 videos, and then I shared a whole bunch of things I did not like. Now, I want to be clear. I think I went really hard on DM Bloodworth, and I just saw every problem he had in the session, because I think me and DM Bloodworth are essentially the same guy. We're both older dudes who run Dungeons and Dragons and are active in the Dungeons and Dragons community. And I think it's hard for us to see ourselves clearly, but I see a lot of myself in DM's Bloodworth, and so I was able to see a lot of the problems he had in his running of this Shadowdark session. So I just piled on. I said every single thing I didn't like about the Shadowdark session, right? And to his credit, DM's Bloodworth watched every video and commented on every video, right? But what shocked me was my commentary changed. And actually, it's the Shadowdark Shards of Ymir session, okay? And so what's really interesting is Shards of Ymir will never be run the same again because I fixed it, right? How did I fix it? Well, I got the receipts. DM Bloodworth actually went in the comments and he said he realized I said the wrong people died, right? So I don't have Shadowdark mastery, right? And I lived, and 2 other players lived, but 4 people who knew Shadowdark way better than me died, right? All in one scene, which was the second to the last scene of the game, right? And so, or the session, to the last scene of the session. And I was like, that's wrong, right? And I'm shocked. Dude, DM Bloodworth was like, you're right, that's wrong. And he said, I'm going to change this token pool and how tokens are spent out of the token pool so that this won't happen in the future. And he said, this is the feedback I'm taking from you. I fixed Shards of Ymir, which is awesome, right? And I think that's pretty epic. And if it weren't for YouTube, this wouldn't be possible. I wouldn't be able to unpack every single thing I didn't like about Shards of Ymir and make it a good experience for players in the future. But fortunately, DM's Bloodworth has me to fix his problems. You're welcome, buddy. Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.